So, is AI coming for your job? I mean, that's the question, right? It's on literally everyone's mind. And it's creating this mix of, well, excitement, but let's be real, a lot of anxiety too. So, today, we're going to try to cut through all that noise. We're going to get to the real story behind AI and the future of work. All right, let's get into it.
And look, this anxiety, it isn't coming from nowhere. I mean, when someone like Elon Musk, one of the biggest names in tech, says something like this, yeah, people are going to listen. It completely frames the conversation around this idea of a future where, human jobs just aren't a thing anymore.
And this isn't just some niche fear for people in Silicon Valley. A recent Gallup poll found that a whopping 75%, that's 3 out of every 4 adults in the US, believe that AI is going to end up killing more jobs than it creates. I mean, that is a massive, massive majority. So yeah, let's start right there. Let's call this first section the AI job panic, because right now that's pretty much the main story you hear, and it's totally shaping how we're all thinking about this whole thing. But what if that's not the whole story? What if this narrative we all hear about inevitable job losses and humans becoming obsolete is actually missing a giant, really critical piece of the puzzle? Okay, so this is where a guy named David Otter, an economist from MIT, comes into the picture. And he has this fascinating, honestly pretty counterintuitive idea. He argues that, get this, far from destroying jobs, AI could be the very thing that helps us rebuild the middle class. It could reverse this trend of inequality we've been seeing for decades. Now, to really get what Otter is saying, we've got to take a quick look back at how expertise has changed over time. We started with artisans, skilled craftspeople where their personal judgment was everything. Then we moved into the age of mass expertise. Think factories and offices, where the most important skill was just following the rules. And then, more recently, the computer age gave us elite expertise, which really concentrated power in the hands of a small group of high-level professional decision makers. Okay, so here's the crucial difference. Computers automated all those rule-following jobs, the ones that made up the middle class, and that funneled all the power and money up to those elite experts. But Otter argues that AI does the exact opposite. See, AI doesn't just automate rules. It can actually help with judgment and really complex decisions. And that means it has the potential to spread that elite expertise out to way more people. An author has a name for this. He calls it an inversion technology. The key idea here is simple. Instead of just making the handful of experts at the very top even more powerful, AI could actually empower a whole lot more people to do that kind of expert-level work by giving them the tools for high-stakes decision-making. And you know what? This isn't just a theory. We've actually seen this happen before. Just look at the nurse practitioner. That role was created specifically to take on tasks that used to be only for doctors. And how is that possible? Through new training and, crucially, information tech that helped them make decisions. It created this brand new, high-value, middle-class job, and employment just skyrocketed. It's a perfect example of how expertise can be spread out. All right, so that's a pretty compelling and honestly optimistic vision, but it's not the full picture. Now we've got to turn to a much more challenging part of the story. Let's talk about the AI engineer. So, what if AI isn't just a co-pilot helping us fly the plane? What if it's actually learning to fly the plane all by itself? What if it's becoming so good that it can do the entire job from takeoff to landing with no human needed? Well, meet Devin. It's being called the world's first AI software engineer. And look what it can do. You give it a simple instruction, and it creates a whole step-by-step plan. It uses the exact same tools a human developer would use. It writes its own code, and this is the crazy part, it finds and fixes its own mistakes. And then it deploys the final working website. This isn't a helper. This is an autonomous agent doing a really complex, high-skilled job. Okay, so now we have these two totally competing ideas, right? On one hand, AI as a tool that helps us. On the other, AI as a full-on replacement. The truth, as it usually is, seems to be somewhere in the middle. Let's call this the human-AI partnership. Let's look at a really fascinating real-world example, translation. I mean, AI translation tools have been amazing for years now, so you'd think the number of human translators would be dropping, right? But look at this paradox. As the AI got better and better, the number of jobs for human translators actually went up by 11% in just a few years. How is that even possible? Well, it turns out that for anything that's actually high stakes, you still need a human. Think about it. In fields like law or medicine, one tiny mistake from an AI could be a total disaster. Plus, AI is just not great with nuance, right? It struggles with things like cultural sensitivity, true creativity, or keeping a brand's voice consistent. The bottom line is that human judgment is still absolutely critical. And when we dig into the studies of how people are actually using AI at work, a really clear pattern starts to show up. A big study on GitHub Copilot, the coding assistant, found it made programmers 56% faster. Another on using ChatGPT for professional writing, it found that the least skilled writers saw the biggest jump in quality. And in customer service, AI helped brand new employees get up to the level of seasoned veterans months ahead of schedule. The pattern here is just undeniable. AI isn't just a tool for the experts to get even faster, it's actually helping beginners and less skilled people catch up, and catch up fast. It's acting like this incredible lever, making real expertise more accessible to everyone and making those core skills more valuable, not less. So, what does all of this actually mean for the future? Well, it means the ending to this story isn't written yet. The outcome is not some foregone conclusion. It's our choice to make. You know, there's a great word for this way of thinking: inevitabilism. It's this dangerous idea that technology is just this unstoppable force of nature, and we're all just along for the ride. But the problem with believing that is that it makes us forget that we have any say in the matter. It takes away our power to actually shape how these incredible tools are built and used. The philosopher Simone de Beauvoir said it perfectly: fate triumphs as soon as we believe in it. Think about that. The second we accept that a certain future is unavoidable, we're the ones who make it happen. The moment we believe we're powerless, well, that's when we actually become powerless. So here's the thing. AI is not our fate. It's a tool. It's probably one of the most powerful tools our species has ever invented. So the real question, the most important question, isn't what AI is going to do to us, it's what are we going to do with it? What kind of world and what kind of future are we all going to choose to build?